Praise the truth when it's useful, and damn the truth that you don't like. That was an excerpt from the new Billy Simons Jr. album titled The Gospel of Weapons. Billy Simons is someone that I think is very similar to Jesse Wells. They're both singer-songwriters, often just deploying an acoustic guitar, and they tend to write pretty snappy songs about current events. Matter of fact, they both released, I believe, 3 albums in the year 2025, so yeah, they're just kind of cranking out the material. And I'm not gonna lie, I always get a little shook whenever someone's just pumping out song after song in the era of AI-generated content. Because you never know when you might get tricked by something you saw on the internet, hashtag Joe Rogan. All jokes aside though, Billy Simons has been at this for quite some time now. He's not necessarily a new artist, he's just become incredibly active in this past year, and for good reason, based on the songs he writes. Looking around at current and global events, there's definitely no shortage of topics, and Billy Simons actually came to us as a viewer recommendation, so again, thank you guys so much for recommending all of these artists. As you know, we will be reviewing this album, Gospel of Weapons, to see how it pertains to the culture of resistance, because of course all these albums are interconnected, they're saying a similar message, they share similar themes. And now we will be reviewing this one to see how it stacks up. As always guys, like and subscribe if you like the vibe. Check out the Patreon down below, or check out some of our other Revolution reviews. We have Jesse Wells, as we mentioned earlier, Moonwalker, Grandson, Jer. It's just a plethora of incredible artists, and now looking at Billy Simons here, starting off with his first track off this album, titled He Was On Your Side. This opening track is all about the disinformation found in the 24-hour news cycle, where we are just bombarded with reports of mass incidences of people being elected who just end up muddying the waters, poisoning the well. Because every time a mass incident does occur, people just rush to conclusions, trying to affiliate them with a political party or a political motive, oftentimes within just minutes of the event actually occurring, and therefore you know absolutely nothing about the perpetrator. I can't think of any better example other than Charlie Kirk, but of course this is not exclusive to him, where people rush to say that he's the bad guy, that he's on your side, look how you people react, look at what you've done. But just like first impressions on a first date are so critical, first impressions of a news story is equally important. And who needs information with an angry population? Because information doesn't matter if you're riled up with vitriol, if you're overpowered by emotion. And because of the frequencies of these events, the song ends by saying, "And we'll do it all again, same time, next week." The second track, Soybeans, is a very interesting song breaking down the issue around soybeans and how they are related to US farmers, Argentina, China, tariffs, and how we bailed out Argentina to the tune of $20 billion when that money could have been spent on literally anything else, including welfare for the farmers, or I mean subsidies for the farmers. And there's a great line talking about how if you're propping up the market, is that market really free? Because we see that in so many different industries. The third track, Nothing to See Here, Everything's Fine, really just calls out Trump's affinity for dictators, how he wants to be perceived as a strong man with the strong military parades, and in fact had one with very squeaky tanks. But it also just calls out so much societal hypocrisy, like how underpopulation is said to be a huge threat, yet everyone's also talking about how immigration is such a problem because there's too many people here. So like, which one is it? Is it the population shrinking, or is it just too many of the wrong people being here, taking the place of the population that's shrinking? Yeah, it's probably that. That's a great way to find out someone's racial insecurity. The song also points out how the people living on the hilltops will hide their money underground, untaxed, while you have to get your ass back in the factory before it closes down. And there's also a funny little line where he says, "I hate to have to say it for the Epsteinth time." Nice. +1 for wordplay. And as the chorus goes, there's nothing to see here, everything's fine, we're just standing around acting real polite. So really just normalizing normalcy when really nothing is normal about the circumstances that we're living in. Many fires are starting or have started. It's basically just the meme of the guy sitting in his burning house drinking coffee saying this is fine, and that's more or less how we are reacting as a society to all of these things. The next track, Dirty Man, again just calls calls out the hypocrisy about how we criminalize the poor, yet we give a pass to the wealthy for all of their white-collar crimes. Because for the criminal millionaires, people just don't share the same disdain for them as they do for the guys standing on the corner, despite those crimes being an order of magnitude worse. And of course, it's designed to be this way. It's designed so that you're always kicking down instead of looking up. Now the next track, Oh the Irony, is actually my #1 recommended song from the album. If there's only one song that you hear from Billy Simons Jr., I highly recommend this one. There's a really interesting line about how people want freedom of speech without the fences until the jokes get too bold and they rattle your senses, and still the people are laughing because the Overton window has shifted so much that now those jokes are no longer jokes, they're more or less statements. It's not just there for humor, it's there with an implication. This whole thing reminds me of Ben Shapiro with the Young Republicans group chat that was leaked, where people were just talking openly with very racist, bigoted comments, very anti-Semitic. And then you have Ben Shapiro, who functions as a mouthpiece for that party, for the propaganda machine. But then when the jokes get too real, when they start hitting too close to home, then you have to actually denounce it, again, despite the fact that you helped create this problem in the first place, because you yourself propagate this propaganda, just not this particular shade that's now pointed at you. And with all the sound bites and smoke screens, it's very easy to praise the truth when it's useful, and it's equally easy to damn the truth that you don't like. Track 6, we got the song Grandpa Ice, which is written from the perspective of someone in 2055 looking back at their grandfather, who obviously served as an ICE agent, saying that he was a kind man who prayed with all of his heart, and he said that he loved America, but he hated every part. And he despised the educated, the needy, the folks who always complained, despite the fact that he's the one always complaining himself. I feel like everybody knows someone like that. And he also loved his job, just dragging people off the street, shoving them into his van. And later down the road, he's actually convicted of crimes. They took away his database and his $30 an hour because he was on the wrong side of history, despite thinking that God was on his side, despite thinking that he was doing the right thing. He was actually just kidnapping people. Who would have thought? Probably someone that might have actually been a US citizen, someone that they had no probable cause to imprison outside of their skin color. Now track 7, Dinosaurs, runs a comparison between the dinosaurs and humans, saying that the dinosaurs were a diverse species, they were narcissistic, arrogant, and jealous, and they also all disagreed. They were self-entitled with their tiny brains, moving in herds, you get the point. But what really did them in? Was it the climate change? Was it the biblical flood? Was it the asteroid? Historians and conspiracy theorists alike will often contemplate that circumstance, but the one thing that is absolutely certain is that the dinosaurs couldn't help but go after each other first, long before extinction took them out for good. Track 8, this is also one of my favorites. I highly recommend this right before the track Oh the Irony. This track is called Acetaminophen. Did I get that right? Here, we're just poking fun at the hilariously bad press conference that Trump and RFK Jr. did regarding the quote-unquote connection between Tylenol and autism, because RFK Jr. said that he would find the link to autism, and apparently they found it in a highly recommended, often consumed medicine. It's a pretty funny little track though, which leads us to the final track of the album, titled Our Father. This one is calling for the Holy Father to bless our weapons, to bless those who look like us instead of those who are not made in our image. Our Father of rage and oppression, give us our daily bread, and bless all of our transgressions forever and ever. Amen. Overall, guys, I think this is a solid album. Definitely check out his other 2 albums, which we did not get to this year. Kind of like Jesse Wells, I was trying to not review every album from an artist if they had multiple albums so that we could get to other people. But I'm glad that we got to Billy Simons here because, again, I definitely think this is worth a listen. Every track on this album, The Gospel of Weapons, does pertain to the culture of resistance, and that will give it a very favorable score. I'm actually going to give this a 90 out of 100. Again, definitely check out the song Oh the Irony, or if you just want to laugh, check out the song Acetaminophen. And ideally, the album would score a little higher if it wasn't just based on current events. Not that there's anything wrong with that necessarily, because again, just like Jesse Wells or even Josh Johnson with his stand-up comedy, it kind of serves as a quick reaction force to all the things that are happening. So it's cool to have songs that you can instantly relate to that kind of break down the issues of the day, but albums like this I feel like might not have a whole lot of staying power because they're not necessarily looking at things from a historical perspective or a more zoomed out perspective. They're more or less just a timestamp of the present day, which again is not bad. It's just maybe not as timeless as some other records that, were written 30, 40 years ago that hit just as hard today because they were talking about things that were a little bit deeper than just the surface level topics. Anyways, I'm done ranting. Let me know what you guys thought about this album in the comments down below. Hit me up with other recommendations for other artists to do a review of next. Definitely like and subscribe if you like the vibe. Again, check out the Patreon if you want to support the channel further. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. Take care, stay well, stay safe, and we will see you on the next one. Later.